Welcome to our video on psychology facts about negative thinking. Negative thinking can impact our mental and physical health, and it can be challenging to break out of the cycle. But with the right information and tools, you can learn to manage negative thinking patterns and cultivate a more positive outlook. In this video, we'll explore some fascinating psychology facts about negative thinking and provide you with effective strategies to shift to a more positive perspective. 1. Negative thoughts are more powerful than positive thoughts. According to research, our brains tend to give more attention and weight to negative thoughts, which can lead to a cycle of negative thinking. Our brains have evolved to be more sensitive to negative information as a way of protecting us from potential threats or danger. This is known as the negativity bias. Negative thoughts or experiences activate the amygdala, a part of the brain responsible for the processing of emotions, more strongly than positive thoughts or experiences. In other words, negative information is processed more quickly and with more intensity than positive information. This can lead to a cycle of negative thinking, where our brains give more attention and weight to negative thoughts, which can create more negative thoughts, leading to a spiral of negative emotions and behaviors. For example, if you make a mistake at work, your brain may focus on that mistake and generate negative thoughts, such as "I'm not good enough" or "I always mess things up." These negative thoughts can then lead to negative emotions, such as anxiety or sadness, which can impact your behavior and self-esteem. This cycle of negative thinking can be difficult to break without conscious effort. However, it's important to note that our brains are adaptable and can be rewired with practice. By consciously focusing on positive experiences and thoughts, and practicing gratitude and positive self-talk, we can start to shift our brains towards a more positive outlook on life. 2. Negative thinking can be a form of self-protection. Sometimes, people engage in negative thinking as a way of protecting themselves from disappointment or failure. This can lead to a pessimistic outlook on life. Negative thinking can be a form of self-protection, especially when individuals feel vulnerable or uncertain about their future. Negative thinking can act as a defense mechanism, where people prepare themselves for the worst possible outcome in order to avoid disappointment or failure. For example, a person may engage in negative thinking before a job interview by telling themselves, "I'm not going to get the job anyways, so why bother trying?" This kind of thinking may protect them from the pain of rejection if they do not get the job, but it can also lead to a pessimistic outlook on life. While negative thinking can provide some temporary relief from disappointment or failure, it can also become a habit that reinforces a negative outlook on life. This can make it difficult to see opportunities or possibilities for growth and improvement. It's important to find a balance between realistic thinking and positive thinking. While it's important to prepare for potential negative outcomes, it's also important to focus on the positive possibilities and maintain a sense of hope and optimism. This can help individuals feel more resilient and better equipped to deal with life's challenges. 3. Negative thinking can lead to anxiety and depression. When we consistently think negatively, it can impact our mental health and lead to symptoms of anxiety and depression. Negative thinking can have a significant impact on our mental health, leading to symptoms of anxiety and depression. When we consistently think negatively, our brains produce stress hormones, such as cortisol, which can lead to increased feelings of anxiety and overwhelm. Negative thinking can also lead to feelings of hopelessness and helplessness, which are common symptoms of depression. When we believe that our situation is hopeless, we may become less motivated to take action to improve our circumstances. This can lead to a cycle of negative thinking and inactivity, which can exacerbate symptoms of depression. Additionally, negative thinking can impact our self-esteem and sense of self-worth. When we consistently think negatively about ourselves, we may start to believe that we are not good enough or worthy of love and acceptance. This can lead to feelings of shame, guilt, and low self-esteem, which can further contribute to symptoms of anxiety and depression. It's important to recognize the impact that negative thinking can have on our mental health and take steps to address it. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is an effective treatment for negative thinking patterns, as it can help individuals become more aware of their thoughts and learn to challenge negative or distorted thinking patterns. Additionally, practices such as mindfulness, positive self-talk, and gratitude can help shift our focus towards more positive and optimistic thinking patterns. 4. Negative thinking can be a habit that's hard to break. The more we engage in negative thinking, the more ingrained it becomes in our thought patterns. It takes conscious effort to shift our thinking to a more positive perspective. Negative thinking can become a habit that's hard to break. The more we engage in negative thinking, the more ingrained it becomes in our thought patterns. Over time, negative thinking can become an automatic response to certain situations or triggers, making it difficult to break the habit. Negative thinking can also create a self-fulfilling prophecy. When we consistently think negatively, we may start to behave in ways that reinforce those negative thoughts. For example, if we consistently think "I'm not good enough," we may avoid taking on new challenges or opportunities, which can prevent us from achieving our goals and further reinforce our negative beliefs. Breaking the habit of negative thinking takes conscious effort and practice. It's important to become more aware of our negative thinking patterns and learn to challenge them with more positive and realistic thoughts. This can involve questioning the evidence for our negative beliefs, looking for alternative explanations, and focusing on positive experiences and outcomes. It's also important to cultivate self-compassion and self-care practices. When we are kind and compassionate towards ourselves, we are more likely to challenge negative thoughts and engage in behaviors that support our well-being. Breaking the habit of negative thinking is not easy, but with practice and persistence, it is possible to shift our thinking towards a more positive and optimistic perspective. 5. Negative thinking can be distorted. Sometimes, our negative thoughts are not based on reality but are instead distorted by our own perceptions and biases. This is known as cognitive distortion. Negative thinking can be distorted, and this distortion is called cognitive distortion. Cognitive distortion occurs when our negative thoughts are not based on reality but are instead shaped by our own perceptions and biases. There are several types of cognitive distortions, including all or nothing thinking. This is when we see things as black or white, with no shades of gray in between. For example, we may think if I can't do it perfectly, there's no point in trying at all. Overgeneralization. This is when we take one negative experience and generalize it to everything in our lives. For example, we may think I always mess up everything. Mind reading. This is when we assume we know what others are thinking without any evidence. For example, we may think they must think I'm stupid because I made a mistake. Catastrophizing. This is when we blow things out of proportion and imagine the worst possible outcome. For example, we may think if I fail this exam, my whole life is ruined. Personalization. This is when we take things personally that are not about us. For example, we may think they didn't say hello to me because they don't like me. Cognitive distortions can be harmful because they prevent us from seeing the situation clearly and accurately. They can also contribute to feelings of anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. Recognizing and challenging cognitive distortions is an important part of cognitive behavioral therapy, which can help individuals learn to reframe negative thoughts and develop more positive and realistic thinking patterns. 6. Negative thinking can impact our physical health. Studies have shown that negative thinking can increase stress levels and have a negative impact on our immune system and overall health. Negative thinking can impact our physical health. Research has shown that negative thinking can increase stress levels, which can have a negative impact on our immune system and overall health. Stress is a natural response to challenging situations, but when it becomes chronic, it can lead to a range of health problems. Chronic stress can increase the risk of heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, and other chronic health conditions. Negative thinking can also impact our immune system. When we are under stress, our body produces cortisol, which can suppress our immune system's response. This can make us more susceptible to infections and other illnesses. In addition to these physical effects, negative thinking can also impact our behaviors, such as our eating habits and exercise routine. For example, when we are feeling down or stressed, we may be more likely to engage in unhealthy behaviors such as overeating, consuming alcohol or drugs, or avoiding physical activity. It's important to recognize the impact that negative thinking can have on our physical health and take steps to address it. Practices such as mindfulness, relaxation techniques, and exercise can help reduce stress and promote overall health and well-being. Additionally, seeking support from a mental health professional can help individuals learn strategies to manage negative thinking patterns and improve their overall health. 7. Mindfulness and cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, can help with negative thinking. Mindfulness practices and CBT techniques can help individuals become more aware of their negative thought patterns and learn to shift them to more positive ones. Both mindfulness and cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, can be effective in helping individuals manage negative thinking patterns. Mindfulness is the practice of being present and fully engaged in the current moment. It involves paying attention to thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment. Mindfulness can help individuals become more aware of their negative thought patterns and learn to observe them without becoming overwhelmed by them. By practicing mindfulness, individuals can develop greater emotional regulation, reduce stress and anxiety, and improve their overall well-being. CBT is a type of therapy that focuses on changing negative thought patterns and behaviors. It helps individuals identify and challenge negative beliefs and replace them with more positive and realistic ones. CBT also teaches individuals skills to manage emotions and cope with difficult situations. CBT has been found to be effective in treating a range of mental health conditions, including anxiety and depression. Combining mindfulness practices with CBT techniques can be especially effective in managing negative thinking patterns. Mindfulness can help individuals become more aware of their thoughts, while CBT provides strategies to challenge and shift negative thinking patterns to more positive ones. In summary, both mindfulness and CBT can be effective in helping individuals manage negative thinking patterns. By becoming more aware of their thoughts and learning to shift them to more positive ones, individuals can improve their mental and emotional well-being. We hope you enjoyed learning about psychology facts on negative thinking and gained some valuable insights into managing negative thought patterns. Remember, negative thinking can impact our mental and physical health, but with practice and patience, we can learn to shift to a more positive outlook. We encourage you to try some of the strategies we shared in this video, such as mindfulness practices and cognitive behavioral therapy techniques, and see how they work for you. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more informative content on psychology and mental health.